Hi, I'm Robin Waite, author of best-selling Amazon book, Online Business Startup, and I've had a ton of people who've been asking me about my book launch. So my book launched in May last year, 2015. Since then, it's pretty much remained in the bestseller rankings in Amazon. So I'm going to teach you or tell you all about my book launch now in this upcoming video. And hopefully, if you're launching your book, you can have just as much success as I had with mine. So basically the reason why I'm doing this video is purely down to the fact that I've had an awful lot of people who've asked me about my book launch, and I felt that obviously this is something which a lot of people will find helpful and useful. So I thought if I stuck it onto YouTube, when I get hit by that bus, then this is just going to outlive me and you'll all have access to my book launch, my campaign process, which I used to get my book to #1. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of talk you through each of the steps one at a time. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll have a really good campaign strategy for launching your own book and enjoy and share in the same successes which I've had with mine. One of the first things that you can do is, when your book goes up onto Amazon, you'll hopefully have a paperback version and or a Kindle version. Now those aren't linked to your, you can also create an author page using Amazon's Author Central. So that links you up and your own author profile up with any books which you write in the future. And this just helps. You have to set it up for not just the .co.uk or the .com, but any of any of Amazon's kind of local websites. You have to set up an individual Author Central page, but once you've done that, you can also connect it up to things like Twitter. You can write a short biography about yourself, you can upload a few photos if you do speaking gigs and things like that, so you can update your author page more regularly, so it just gives people who are looking at buying your book a bit more information about yourself. And also that's an extra page which then Google can rank your book for. So if somebody's searching for Robin Waite, you'll find not only my books, but you'll also find my Author Central page. The second thing which you can do, and this is not necessarily about the launch, but this is a really quick win. So you can create an audiobook version of your website. So go and check out a website called acx.com. It's owned by Amazon, but what it means is there's a great way you can once your book's been published as a Kindle, you can plug it into ACX, you can then invite people to audition for it, so you can listen to the people who are going to be narrating your book for you, and you can either pay them per hour that they narrate the audio for you, or you can do a 50-50 revenue share. It took about, 6 weeks for me to get my book turned into an audiobook. I did it on a 50-50 revenue share. I just wanted to get my book out there. I wasn't really interested in making that much money out of it. So it cost me nothing. It took 6 weeks. It's now live. It's outselling both my paperback and my Kindle versions at a ratio of about 3 to 1. So in my eyes, that was a really quick win and probably one of the best things that I did as part of raising my profile as an author. So now we're going into the launch campaign. So we're talking about a month before your launch. The first thing you want to think about doing is creating a landing page. So this is just a really simple web page, which is going to talk about not your book. Well, it's going to be a bit of few details about your book, but it's going to be talking about getting people to sign up so that when you launch your book on a specific day, when you do your Amazon launch, people are just signing up to register their interest. They're going to help you with this. So you need to create a landing page where people can just pop their email address in, and it'll be linked up to MailChimp, so that you can then start to automate the process of contacting these people who've signed up. But there's a couple of key things to remember that you should put onto your landing page. So you want to get a 3D book cover designed up for your book. So your typical cover, your jacket artwork is flat, whereas actually it looks really smart if you get a 3D version of it mocked up by your designer. So this might be the person who's done the jacket artwork for your book, or your publisher, or whoever. You want to get some professional headshots done for yourself. So there's a really nice, big, clear picture of you on there. So it just adds authenticity to the page. People can relate more to personalised pictures of people. Get the MailChimp form added on there, and one thing which I did for my launch is I I gave away a couple of prizes. So everybody who helped out with the launch chucked them into a free prize draw. So I just put what steps people had to go through on launch page in order to qualify for that free prize draw, and then details about the prizes. I chose prizes which were specifically Amazon-based prizes, so I chose an Amazon Kindle and £50 worth of Amazon vouchers, because strictly you're not supposed to incentivize people around buying your book. But I figured if Amazon looked at it, they go, oh, well, he's selling Amazon products anyway, and this book's on Amazon. So I'm kind of doing everything, kind of hopefully staying within their back pocket. So about 3 weeks, so that'll take you a week or so if you've got a good developer to get set up. About 3 weeks before your book launch day, you then want to start asking people to sign up to your MailChimp form. And what you want is to collect as little information as possible: name, email address, or just email address if that's it. And in MailChimp, you want to set up something called a workflow, or if you click on the automation link, set up a workflow of emails, so that when somebody signs up, you're going to be sending them instructions automatically. So like a few days before launch, a couple of days before launch, on launch day, and then post-launch, you want that whole process just to be automated, so you're not having to remember to do it manually. So on MailChimp, just make sure you've got a template nicely organized and set up. Get 3 or 4 emails once you've made a plan of your campaign. Get those 3 or 4 emails dropped into an automated workflow, so that you know that if you're busy on the day, that stuff is still going to get sent out via email, and it's still going to encourage people to take part in your book launch. So there's a couple of tips which I've got around when you're building your list. So I kind of worked out that I wanted, on the day, I wanted about 30 or 40 people to buy my book, whether that's in paperback or Kindle version, and beyond that, I then wanted some reviews to happen fairly quickly and things like that. So working back from those 30 or 40 people buying it, so I knew that in terms of actual sign-ups, how many of those people were gonna buy it was about 50%. So I needed 80 people definitely to sign up to my mailing list. I'd spoken to a ton of people, and lots of people said, yeah, I'll do that. But I wasn't sure whether they were going to follow through with it. So actually I collected 150 registrations of interest. And my power base of kind of contacts reaches, it's about 750 people. So that's close friends, family, Facebook friends, people who are following me on Twitter, who I regularly interact with, people I meet at networking events. My power base was about 750 people. So work out how many books you need to sell in order to top the categories. I'll come on to categories in a minute in Amazon, but your category rankings, and then work your way back to how many people you're just going to have to contact. And it is a bit of a, I had to say it, you just got to beg, steal and borrow. Beg as many people to come and help you do your book launch as possible. I'm one of those people, I don't tend to ask very much of my power base very often. So I was really lucky that everybody highly engaged with me and just wanted to help me out and just help me get my book to #1 on that launch day. And then in fact, those 30 or 40 people who bought it, I think it was much higher than that. And I had no trouble reaching my #1 category bestseller ranks on Amazon. So the key thing is really on your launch day, you want to basically have this list built so you can guarantee you're going to smash it and get that #1 spot. That's really, really important. So about 14 days before your launch date, so now going back to MailChimp, so at this point I'd set up my templates in MailChimp, I'd set up the first workflow email in there, so at least they got something when they signed up. So the next things you want to do is actually now you're planning your launch day, so you have an email which you schedule to go out on your launch day in the morning, and you also have a follow-up email which might go out in the afternoon, and then maybe a follow-up which goes out 2 or 3 days later to make sure that people are still buying it and they're still thinking about leaving reviews. About 5 days before your launch, this is what I call the package. This is when your box of books your original box of books may have arrived like weeks ago, days ago, but this is when we shout about it on social media to create a bit of buzz, a bit of PR. So we're gonna film ourselves opening our box of books and saying, well, hey, my book's arrived, it's real, it's tangible, this is fantastic. And so what we're going to do is we're going to film that, we're going to blog about it, we're going to tell all of our Facebook friends about it, we're going to upload videos onto YouTube about it and tweet about it. And all this is doing is just raising awareness. And in that process, you're also saying in 5 days' time, my book launch is happening and I want you to buy my book. This is when my book's going to be available on Amazon. And ask and beg and get as many people as possible, get this in front of as many people as you possibly can. This is probably my biggest tip for launching your book. This is huge. So about 3 days before your book launch, you've got to do something called warming up Amazon. So warming up Amazon basically means you've got 4 or 5 moles who we've pre-planned. They're not going to buy your book on launch day, they're going to buy it 2 or 3 days before launch day. And the reason for this is because if you launch your book into Amazon without doing any kind of press marketing, whatever, eventually when it settles down, it will drop down to like number 200,000, number 300,000, whatever in the Amazon rankings, and you're kind of out of it. So what I mean by warming up Amazon is you're going to ask 4 or 5 people to hold off buying it until 2 or 3 days before your book launch. This will automatically bump your Amazon ranking up to say number 30 or 40,000. And the reason why this is so vital is because on launch day, it's going to be much easier for you to get into that top 1,000 overall Amazon rank and number 1 in your categories, starting at 30 or 40,000, it is all the way down there at like 300,000 or 400,000. And it's as simple as that. We're just going to send a few key like friends, people of influence across to that page, buy the book just 2 or 3 days before your actual official launch day. And it will just give you that kickstart which you need. So now we're down to launch day. So your automated email has gone out on the morning of your launch day. I was busy just hitting refresh like all day long. I was down in London hitting refresh to see how my book sales were. And I'd suggest just don't this because I got completely, don't do it. I was so paranoid about where my book was in the rankings. I was even sat in the middle of a meeting and I said, I'm really sorry, do you mind if I just check? It's totally unprofessional, so don't do that. But it's really fun to see your book gradually working its way up the rankings and you get into the top 50, the top 20, top 10, and then you're there, you're like 3 or 4, and then bang, when it hits like number 1, it's the best feeling in the world. So, but I actually had a little bit of a dip. Mine was going up. By lunchtime it went down a little bit, and then I think it's just because people were having lunch, they forgot to buy the book. My afternoon reminder went out, and that's when it hit number 1. And it hit number 1 in a number of different categories, but I was number 1 in the 3 main categories for my paperback, the 3 main categories for my Kindle. So I had 6 number 1 categories across the board. I got into the top. I think I peaked at number 930 in the overall Amazon ranks, and it was brilliant. And that's where hopefully if you plan your campaign and follow the steps which I've just given you, I hope that's kind of where your book will get to. What I was also doing throughout the day is I was tweeting, Facebooking, texting my mates, phoning people up. If you bought my book, like go and buy my book, go and buy it now, like please just go and buy it. I probably sounded a bit desperate, but it worked, so who cares? So then we're into, so like your book's number 1, brilliant. So like post-launch, there's still a lot of work to do because what's the point in having number 1 for a day? So I think this is where it goes from just being about a book launch into giving your book a life on Amazon for the rest of its life. So at some point my book's going to drop off, it will probably start to become irrelevant, I need to update it or whatever. But there's a set number of steps which I went to, which means that it's still at number 1 in categories like 9, 10, 12 months down the line. So 3 days after launch, like follow up, like seriously follow up. If people have said that they're going to leave reviews, hey Dave, have you read the book yet? Why haven't you left a review? Come on, get onto Amazon, leave me a review. As quickly as you can, get to 30 or 40 reviews. Don't care how you do it, beg, steal, borrow, get as many people to leave reviews as you possibly can. What you'll find is a lot of people are like, yeah, I bought it, so that's job done, doesn't matter. No, reviews are equally as important, I feel, as getting people to buy the book and getting, by the way, site traffic to your site, to your Amazon book page, will also boost its rank. So I've noticed the Amazon rank is based on traffic to the site, number of people who buy it, and also the number of reviews. And there's a sweet spot with all of that. So if you've got a big mailing list, that could be potentially, if you've got like 1,000 people going to look at your book at the same time, that could put it up to number 1 quite easily. but reviews and purchases are the things which give it longevity. So that's what we're going to focus on over the coming few days. So I then went into a process of kind of a week or so later starting like a PR campaign, making sure that every time the book ranking started to drop off, I did a little mini campaign to lift the sales back up. I automated my social media campaign, so I was regularly posting promotional like tips from my book and promotional like links through to the book on the Amazon page. So other things you could look at, there's a tool called Help a Reporter Out. So it's helpareporter.com. This is a really good way of, basically it's people who are looking for bloggers, article writers, whatever, about a number of different topics, and it means that you can submit articles, get featured in magazines, make your call to action will be your book. So you might already be using Help a Reporter, but for this period of time, all we're going to do is say, yeah, I'm an expert in X, go and buy my book. Help a Reporter was brilliant, I think, in terms of like getting my name out there, raising my profile and raising my book's profile. Another tip, so this is really important. Amazon likes it if your book is reviewed by some of the top reviewers on Amazon. And there's a list of the top 10,000 reviewers on Amazon. If you go and look for it, I think it's so amazon.co.uk/review/top reviewers, top-reviewers. And within that, you can see the person's profile, and quite often they've got an email address, and that email address is there so that they invite people to send them freebies that they then review on Amazon. So there's nothing like illegitimate, illegal about doing this. Like, get a load of copies of your book, send it out to the top reviewers, and then make sure that you keep a list of those people you sent your book out to, and make sure you follow it up 3 or 4 weeks later and say, look, I sent you that free book, why haven't you left a review yet? So you'll see for my book, there's a number of top 50, top 500 Amazon reviewers on there. That's because I just put myself out there and asked them and sent my book to them and got those reviews. When your book starts to get to like, I noticed there were benchmarks when I got to 40 and 60 and 80 reviews and then 100 plus reviews. These numbers are approximate. I noticed that things started to happen in the way that Amazon treated my book in regards to the categories, the rankings, how it was linked to other books on Amazon. So reviews do play a massive part, and it wasn't really until I sort of got to 95, 100 plus reviews that my book's really been quite nice and stable in the positions and rankings that it's in. So go out there, beg, steal, borrow, get those reviews as quickly as you possibly can. Another thing you do is get onto the Goodreads website, get your author page set up on Goodreads, get your book added on there. There's things called giveaways. So that's a really good way of, so once a month I give away one or 2 or 3 copies of my book on a worldwide basis, because what happens is people see my book, they go to the Amazon page, that boosts my rank. People add my book to their list in Goodreads. And so again, it's just a way of raising your profile, and Goodreads really complements Amazon in terms of like the author listings and book listings. And also there's reviews on there, people can comment on it and you can respond to those comments. Another really powerful thing which I did on my social media channel, so if you go to twitter.com/Robin M. Waite, you will see that my pinned post is a post about my book, basically which says like, here's my book, this is what it's about, go and buy it. So that whenever I tweet, if somebody goes and looks at my profile, the first thing they see is an article, is a tweet about my book. And I found that there have been certain things that I've tweeted about that all of a sudden has boosted boosted the sales for the book. Where to next? So also, depending on how you've published it, you could also list your own book on the Amazon Marketplace. So where you see used and new, or new and used, you can get your own book listed in there and sell the books yourself. But there is a downside to this. It means that if you get an order, you've got to print off the label, pack it, take it down to the post office and post it. For some people, most people probably find that quite annoying, quite frustrating, and they're just happy to let Amazon do the work for them. I'm a bit of a nerd and I don't mind doing that. I quite enjoy the process of receiving an order, printing out the postage labels, packing it. I write a nice little handwritten note to anybody who orders my book through the Amazon Marketplace. But the reason why I do this is because I figured Like, my book's going to get listed on the marketplace regardless. I'd much rather, if they're going to buy it from anybody, they're going to buy it directly from me. So that's why I go to that trouble, because I know that whenever I sell a book, it's either through my publisher, or it's through Amazon's print-on-demand process, or it's through me on the marketplace. So those are all my tips. This is kind of the process which I went through with my book, and I'm finally almost 8 months since post-launch now, reaching a point whereby all of this groundwork that I've done has meant that my book has a really nice, stable, high ranking. I've got some nice regular sales coming in. I got my first full 6-month royalty check, and it was okay. Hopefully my next one will be even better, because it wasn't really until the most recent 2 months where things really started to kick off in terms of the sales of the book, and my own profile as well. So hopefully, if you follow those tips and you found them helpful, you can start to implement your own book launch campaign. The reason why I did this video was so that I wasn't having to repeat the same conversation with multiple people lots of times, but I am happy to answer questions. I suggest the best thing you do is to drop them into the comments box below this video on YouTube, so that we can share and talk about our ideas with other people in the community. And if there are specific things which you've done which you feel have helped your own book launch, please leave them as comments. Let's get loads of authors out there as bestsellers on Amazon. I'm not in this to make money from this video or anything like that. Here just to tell you how to launch your book successfully. Let's help as many authors as we possibly can reach and achieve those #1 categories on Amazon. I've also got this as you can see, as a PDF. It's 30 to 40 pages long. If you want that, drop me an email. I'll fire it across to you. I'm more than happy to do that. And then, yeah, let's get you a bestseller on Amazon.